Hi there, John Glory here. Welcome to the A Plus podcast. In today's podcast, which is titled Powered Down to Power Up, Thriving in the Dark During Load Shedding, we are joined by Mapalo Kunda from Northrise University, Given Ndlovu, a 60th year medical student at the Copperbelt University School of Medicine, Tehila Malunga, our host, and of course me, John Glory. We highlight some key principles how that young people can of course adapt and thrive amidst the current load shedding crisis, which is currently hitting the Zambian community. If you haven't yet followed us on YouTube, do search for the A Plus Student Foundation and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And of course, tap that notification bar so that you do not miss a thing. If you haven't yet followed us on our socials, please do so by searching also for the A Plus Student Foundation. Don't forget to like so that we can grow and develop together. Indeed, as we always say, as the A Plus student community, we are stronger together.
How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself managing if load shedding in Zambia got worse? Let's say we have 15 hours of load shedding. Do you see yourself managing? And what do you think you would do to manage?
All right, that's a nice question. I think maybe before I answer that question, I wanted to add on to what you said about excuses. I feel excuses come about because of failure to adapt. You have failed to adapt to the situation, therefore now you're prone to lean on excuses. And excuses will be excuses, and excuses have a nature of losing their validation, with time. So maybe let's talk about adaptability, because that's a term that has come about. So adaptability is simply defined as the ability to adjust to new conditions, new situations, or change in the environment. So it talks about an individual's ability to be more flexible. And there's a study, actually, it's a new study now, and now companies are looking into it. It's adaptability quotient, that the measure of how well an individual can adapt to different conditions. And the higher you score in this, the more companies will hire you, because we're living in a world that's constantly changing. You see, there's only one person that doesn't change, and that's God. But everything else changes. So it's important that we become adaptable. And going to your question, what could I do? So I just have to adapt, because if I don't adapt or adjust to 15 hours load shedding, I will not survive, because I also run some businesses online. I'm a speaker, I have to advertise. I also design, I edit people's books and so forth. So most of my things are online, and I sell my books online. So what I would do is, if I look at the schedule, 15 hours of load shedding, I ask myself, okay, so is power going to be coming in the morning for the rest of that will be 9 hours now, yes? 9 hours of electricity. Is it in the morning, in the afternoon, or during the night? I have to adapt by changing my schedule. I have to replan. The thing is, as individuals, we have to be stubborn about our goals, but we have to be flexible about the method. The method has to be changed. When it comes to planning, in one of my books, Faith is Till You Make It, I talk about planning, the importance of planning. And planning is about setting goals, objectives, and strategy on how to achieve those goals. So the goals can be constant, but the strategy can change with the change in environment. So I would change my schedule, my sleeping schedule. You talked about sleeping. With batch sleep, what do you say?
Polyphasic.
I'm not a doctor. Yeah, polyphasic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it well. If maybe that's right, like where you segment your sleeping. Yeah, you're sleeping in segments. That's a good strategy. I would do that. I'll be sleeping maybe 2 hours in the afternoon when there's no power. Then when it comes back, I'm up, sleep, and up. Actually, that's what I did during these exams. I was sleeping during the day, then I'll be awake when I have to study with the laptop. And also, another thing I would do is utilize other study tools. Like, for instance, you can go to a library in town. They have power. You can study in school. Campuses at least have power. Study groups. It's more it's more like entertaining to study with a group of people. Maybe when you're revising in the night when there's no power. And then another thing I would do is I would um, I would also, there's a term that I wanted to use, but I'll not use it. I would be okay. I would utilize daylight saving, but once I remember the term, I'll come back to it. I think those are some of the things I would do. It's just a matter of replanning. Just replan, adjust.
Okay, all right. So I think just to maybe add on what Mapolo has alluded to, I think it's important to understand that it's possible that things could get worse, and putting that into consideration and beginning to prepare mentally for it is cardinal. Yeah, I like to put myself in a place where, what if it was worse than now? Okay, because by so doing, you're not caught unaware. Yeah, it's okay to always wish and hope and pray for the best, but sometimes the opposite tends to happen. So I think it's important that we prepare for this possibility. This is where you find people, things are going from west to west, and they're always complaining, oh, now it's 10 hours, or now it's 11, now it's 12, 13, until they're going to say now it's 20 hours. Now it's 3 days of no power. We haven't had power in days, and it brings more frustration. And because you've been complaining, you haven't put in the necessary, steps or walls or blocks to find yourself not really affected in that sense. Because it's possible it could be 7 hours blackout. It could, 7 days, or maybe 3 days or 4 days. So we need to prepare for that possibility mentally. And how do we now adjust in such a way that, regardless of what that happening, we are still going to be ticking? Okay, we need to now, this is where we need to start thinking about things like solar energy. We need to start thinking about generators and stuff like that. So you can be a group of 7 students or 6 students, and you're like, okay guys, this could happen. How do we put our monies together and get something like a solar panel which we can be using to charge our gadgets only? So there are those things that you can be able to do to prepare for such things happening. I like what Given said about going back to Eden, where you start doing things physically. Actually, if you start doing those things now, you find that by the time we reach that place where it's worse, you would have already adjusted, you would have already adapted, and you'll be laughing at those that will be complaining at that time. Oh no, it's 15 hours, but you're like, oh okay, no, it's fine. I'm still ticking, And the beauty with life is that, and the difference with people that are always on the cutting edge and those that are always lagging behind, is that the ones on the cutting edge are always miles ahead. They're always miles ahead, and they always profit in adversity. Actually, they make more profit in adversity. So we can actually thrive even the more in adversity. Actually, it could be an opportunity. My pastor would always say that a coin comes with two sides, and there's a Chinese proverb which says, with every adversity comes opportunity. So I think in this moment, we need to start looking around and seeing opportunity. Okay, I've been doing this that relies on digital. What can I do that relies less on digital that I can actually use to thrive?
People are in need of power, people are in need of these things. How can I bring it to them? And so thinking in those lines, I think, is something that we can be able to do. And I think something that I have been doing, like thinking forward, what if we are in such a place? How do I adjust? Yeah.
Great stuff. I think both of you guys, Apollo and John, mentioned planning ahead, and I think it's something that especially youths have to invest in learning how to. You need to learn how to plan ahead. If animals can pack up nuts for winter, animals, guys, can do that. Like, who are you not to? And it's it's just it's wrong for a person who's got all their senses together to be ever complaining. It's the same as no, it's too cold to study. No, it's too hot to study. No, guys, it will never be right, you know? Yeah. And so we just need to learn learn to use what look at what is and not what should be. What should be is not something you should focus on so much, because it's not what is currently going on. Yes, we should have power ideally the whole day, but it's not it. So work with what's here now, and I think that promotes hard work. Yeah, it promotes you to work hard, because you won't sit and wait for, oh, to Kamba when there's power the whole day. Oh no, I'll chill for the weather to be better. Or no, I'll wait for the resources till I start a business. Or it's never the perfect time to do things. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe to add on, there's something I was listening to, a certain podcast. I love the words he said, but I'll paraphrase them. He said, uh, every problem, once learned, becomes a gift. So this problem we're having of load shedding, when you learn it and adapt around it, can actually become a gift. Like Mr. Given said here, you go back to Eden, you go back to the basics. It's a way of adapting as well. And the time when this gets worse, gets worse, as Mr. John here said, you will discover that you'll be at a better advantage, and as a business, you'll be able to make more profit. And then another thing I would love to say is, um, changing is important as an individual. You have to be able to change according to the environment that you are in. Values are supposed to be the same, yes. Maintain your values, maintain your goals, but change your methods. Because for those maybe who have my WhatsApp, every time in the morning I always post, "Good morning, keep making progress." I'm an advocate for progress. And look at this. Progress cannot be made without change. And if you cannot change your mind, you cannot change anything. That's how it is. So this new environment that we're in, let's learn it and let's learn to adapt around it. The methods have already been given by my fellow speakers here. Then you see the benefit of it.
Wow. I think we're addressing a very important question. What happens when it gets worse? Well, John spoke about opportunity. I really pray for an opportunity that when we get there, when load shedding is crazy, and I've left Zambia. Yeah, praying. But anyway, that's not solving the solution. Well, I just want to remark a little on having a foresight. I think it's very, very important because, in as much as we are planning is for tomorrow. It's not really for today. So this is a call for all of us, all the young people, the listeners, guys. This is actually a time to come to the table and look at the problem, to dissect it in many, many ways. As young people, we've got many abilities. This is actually an opportunity to actually dissect this problem and then showcase our various gifts, talents, and innovativeness. Who knows? Maybe one may just come up with a solution, a lasting solution, something that everyone wow at, like, oh wow, this actually works. So we need not to underestimate our abilities,
as young people, I think this is an encouragement that, just like he spoke of the Chinese proverb, where there's adversity or a crisis, it's an opportunity to actually think deep, introspect, like, okay, this is a huge problem affecting the entire country.
Mhm.
You know, as a young person, how am I contributing to the betterment of the situation? So it's not just about you, the person, and how you're thriving at your agendas, but also to consider how you as a person will contribute to the larger cause. Okay? It's important that we also look at that. So I really pray that we can have the newest Albert Einstein or latest Albert Einstein coming from Zambia that would just come up with a solution, lasting solutions. Okay, since we rely on hydropower, what other means can we explore? Of course, we're exploring alternative forms of energy like solar panels, gensets, and so on. But there's more. There's wind situations, those that are doing those things, I'm sure
Mhm.
understand better. But there are many, many ways. We need to be resourceful. Let's not limit ourselves.
Wow. And I think before Tehila comes in, I believe any person, individual, organization, or business that survives this can only grow even more afterwards. You know, the worst thing
Go
that you
back to
can
Eden.
stop doing in
What do
such
I mean?
scenario is
Well,
stopping critique. as
you
an
know, we were
individual
in the
or
COVID
as an
phase at some
organization or as a
point years
business.
back, like he put.
Um,
COVID made most of us,
continuing
if not
to
the entire
move
world,
and tick and make
be
progress, I
inclined
think
more
is
to
important.
digital,
Obviously,
to gadgets.
your
right?
productivity
So people
will be
shifted
crippled
from
to
this
some
way
extent
of life
where
of
you are
doing
no longer
things
making
at a
the
person
profit
to
that
person
you were
interaction
making prior to,
versus now
you know,
online.
the
People are having
situation.
shops online.
Yeah.
Like someone owns a shop
But
online.
it's
I
okay
don't even know how
because
that works. Like
what you need to
I've got
also
a shop,
understand is that nothing
and then
is permanent
they also
under the sun.
advertise things and so on. They
Yeah.
do the marketing
So,
online.
Mhm.
regardless of how
And
long this is
then
going to take,
after COVID,
if your business,
now we are
your
in this phase
organization, and
as a
you
country,
survive,
Zambia, where we are faced with
you would
load
have
shedding,
gathered so
Mhm.
much
where
information,
there's
so
blackout.
much
So
experience,
it's essentially
and
gadgets
just
now
you
going down.
continuing to tick
So then this
in such
in itself
adversity.
pushes us to adjust.
Imagine when things turn.
All right, it pushes us to
tablespoon.
adjust. In that
That
we
is why you
have
find
to
a lot of
go back to Eden,
businesses
to
that
normalize
survived
how
to the
we
Great
initially
Recession
used
in
to
the
do
United
things.
States.
If it
After
means
the recession,
advertising, why not
phased off,
advertise
they shot
within your circles?
they
Within
were
you can actually do
established
door-to-door
for, for
advertisement.
good.
I think this is an
Why?
opportunity,
Because
guys, to
during the
re-establish the
adversity,
relationships
they,
that
they
we
were
lost because
pushing roots
the effects of
deep,
technology that
deep into
Yeah.
the ground. They were
So this is a
sourcing
good time to actually
water.
re-establish those
It's like in
connections
the
with
desert.
our neighbors, our
It's sunny up
colleagues.
there, but
If
the
it's
ones that
marketing, market
survive
with those
are
people.
the ones that have
If
the
it's
roots, deep
interactions, because you
so
see,
I think this
even
is something
interactions
that
within
we
a home
need
now
to put into
have actually
consideration
been,
and think about as young people.
trampled upon,
You know,
because
we
by the
need to
inception of
start
technology, you find
thinking
that
about,
during dinner, each
You
one will be
can't
on their
things that are going
gadgets.
to
Yeah.
last.
So parents really don't
and
even
sticking
get
to those things
to have that opportunity
and
to
pushing
really
them
find out
through
what the child is going
such
through at
adversity.
school and
Because
things like that.
trust
But this
me,
is
just
actually a
like
good
Paulo
point
Kunda
or
said,
time to retrace back our
they say
initial
your
way of doing
adversity is
things
your
and get to that
the
person to
problem when you
person
deal with it
interaction. So we
becomes,
can, instead of looking at it as a problem,
when you
let's
learn
also
how
highlight the
to
positives.
deal with it, it becomes a gift.
So
So it's a
Mapalo,
gift in the sense that you'd have gathered
we're talking about
experience,
thriving in
you'd
the
have
dark, yeah,
increased in your capacity to
during
deal
this
with problems.
time,
Dealing,
and you're a
handling an
student.
organization or handling a business,
Yes,
but
and
there's pressure
so
all around you. So
before
what
now,
if there's a turn in tables and the
before all
environment
this
becomes,
load shedding thing.
becomes
Okay, let's talk
suitable?
about when you were in high
Then
school.
it means you
Maybe if we can
probably
go
should.
that back.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a time where you were using
Amazing.
gadgets to study,
I wish
or
the conversation would go on
No.
and on and on and
what
on
were
and
you
on.
using?
So
So I had
before we close,
physical books.
I want you to
Physical
speak
books in
to
my
the
secondary
complaining
school.
population.
I only had my first smartphone after
The
grade 12.
complaining
That's
youth.
when I learned about
Yeah,
social
say
media
something to
and all
them.
these
I mean,
things.
load shedding
And
is here,
I would
and we're
say
only in
I
June
might
right
have
now,
experienced load
and
shedding
we
some
have
time back.
October when it will
Personal
dry
load
up.
shedding as a
November
family.
that
Because
will
what
dry.
happened was
Yeah, and
when I was
yeah,
in grade 9, when
say
I
something
entered
to
grade
that
9,
person who's
my
ever
family
complaining.
went through a certain downturn. Well,
Mm-hmm.
My dad had I'll invested start. in a certain
Mhm.
business with I his like childhood that best friend, because I like who the ran off with the structure of the money question to South because Africa.
So
it speaks to
my family had borrowed money
an
from other
individual.
people.
Mhm.
So
to
this
invest in the
really
business,
has to
so
be
they had to
approached
pay
at
back.
an individual
So we had to
level,
shift
because
in a house that was
I say
unfinished.
this
There was no power,
appreciating the
water.
fact that you see
So
how you address
I had to
tribulation, or how
adapt.
you react
I
to the
had
changing
to change. You know, there's a quote that
is
I love. It
mostly
says,
determined, predetermined
"Be
by your
willing
belief
to
system,
change
the
because life will
capacity
not
of the
stay the
person."
same."
Mhm.
So
So
life
even
changed.
speaking to the
instantly.
individual out there
And I
who
remember,
may be all negative about
when we
load
went into
shedding, we
that
know
house,
it's a tragedy. It's
I was
something that's
going to use
affecting
a
everyone.
peddler train for the first
Everyone is
time.
affected.
I was like,
This is
I've
why we're
never used
even
this. So
coming
I
up with
stayed
platforms
for
like this,
2
so that we
days
can
without using the
share
toilet.
our thoughts.
Then
They
on the
may not be
15th day, I couldn't
perfect
hold it.
solutions, but they are something to
Transition.
just stimulate someone to start
So there,
get going.
I was
Mhm.
resisting
Yes.
to adapt to
So
the new situation.
I think I'll
And what
challenge
happened
you,
was
the
on the
listener,
15th day when I tried to use the toilet, it was like, it was
re-establish
open.
your belief
Yeah,
system,
childbirth.
because
But
if
anyway,
you
what happened was, during that
harness
time of load shedding, I
a
had to adapt.
behavior or
I changed my study
tendency of
schedules. I
complaining
was
at every problem that comes
utilizing
your way,
daylight
you will
saving. I
never
would
see
study during the
solution.
day.
You will never
And
give your
sometimes
brain
I would
the
study with
opportunity to
Kendall.
start thinking of
Remember,
solutions.
I studied with the Kendall.
So then
Now, the
it's a
situation that
call
I
also
was
for
in,
readjustment in terms of,
I still managed to
well,
score. I was
do
the
I
second
just
highest in the
respond
Bukabla
negatively to
province.
load shedding, or do I pretty
Uh,
much respond
I got
negatively to everything that
510
comes
in
my
all
way?
government schools.
So it's something that can be a
Because
habit. So
I later learned
let's
that if I
reevaluate
do
that
not
and
adapt
then
to this
choose
new
to see the
situation,
positives that load
I
shedding
won't
is
survive.
actually offering, and some of
Same
which
with
could be being
this
innovative. Like
Charles
you spoke
Darwin. I'm
about
speaking to medical students here,
crisis
so I
being a
get to know
gift
Charles Darwin.
once you learn
There's
the
a statement
solution
that
to
he
that
made. He
particular
said,
problem. So let's study this, let's
it is not the
dissect it more.
strongest species
Let's look at
that
what are the
survive,
possible
nor the
means
most
in which we can
intelligent,
actually even make money,
but
because there are people that
the
are actually
most
making money
responsive
in
to
this
change.
stage,
Mhm.
and
So
you're
we are
seated there
in
complaining
an
all
environment
day
that has
long,
changed. We need
and nothing
to
is changing for you. So
adapt.
instead of
We need to
complaining, why don't you
respond as soon as
channel that
possible, else
energy into thinking
will not
of
survive.
something that will better yourself,
Mhm.
something that will
That
even
was
give
like,
you the
yeah,
financial
responding
revenue
to
that you need.
change.
Yeah,
So
the
pretty
response
much
aspect.
it
You know, him
speaks to the
sharing
core of
his
someone. Reevaluate.
childhood story
It's not just
reminds
in
me
this
of
era of load shedding. It
my
can be
grade
pretty
12,
much to anything.
when, you know, grade 10, 11, I was playing around. Okay, let me not say playing, but
Right.
the other focus points.
To the
And you know,
complaining person and
in grade
Taylor.
12 and reality sets in, you have to write your exam in the next 7 months.
What I
And
would say
it
is,
led me to
I
me
think
and
I've
my
already
friends
mentioned it.
shifting
We're living in
from
a
home
world that's ever
to
changing,
my friend's place, and they
and this
didn't
load
have
shedding
power
is just
by
one
then.
of those changes.
So we
There'll
had to
be
use
worse
lamps,
changes.
and
So
we
what
had
we
to
can
gather
do,
as much,
apart from just
past papers
complaining,
and
is
books
to
as
learn
we
to
could,
adapt
as much as
to
we
this
could,
problem that we have.
you know, for us to, like,
And
you know,
if we're
be able
able
to
to adapt
tackle
in this
that.
load shedding,
And
we're going
going to
to
the question that you asked him about
develop
how we
our
managed, you know,
adaptability quotient
to make it
that will help us be able to
even
handle
without
even
gadgets. I
other
think
changes
it's the
that will
same
come
thing,
in the
you
future.
know.
I think I mentioned this thing about adaptability quotient. It's now
comes
a
down to
serious
us
thing, because
going
if you want to
back
be in a huge
and really
organization,
maximizing the
they're able
resources
to rate you on how you
at
can
our
adapt to
disposal.
situations. Imagine you go for a job
Most of the
interview
times, as people, we are always
as a
focused
doctor,
on
then
what we do not
they
have,
ask you something that is
and
parallel
it leads
to
us
being a
to
doctor.
neglect
That's
what we
they
have.
want to say how you're going to be able to adjust to
And
that.
because of
So
that,
now, this load shedding we're having
even
is an opportunity to develop
our
our
ability to really
AQ,
reach our full potential
adaptability quotient.
is hindered.
Maybe
You know,
I can,
so
with a decent, I can
to
just
be
give
honest
you
with
like
you,
maybe 3 ways in
everybody
which you
that's
can
listening and everyone
develop
that
your
is here,
IQ. Or not your IQ,
you have what it
IQ is
takes
also low, but
to
your
thrive,
AQ, adaptability
even
quotient,
in this
because
season, in
it sets
this
you apart
moment that we are
for
in.
more career prospects,
And
to be able to hire you. So
everything
the first
actually
thing
that
that
you
you can
need
do
to make
is,
it, you have it.
one, you need
You
to
only I was
develop
talking,
continuous
somebody, you know,
learning.
texted
So
me, and
you have to be a continuous learner.
they were
Everything
it's
in
actually
life
the
is
second day
changing,
I'm
so you
sure I would
need to
listen to his
learn new
podcast,
ways. Don't be
and he was
stuck to
complaining to me
that
about,
one
you
method
know,
of doing something.
adapting
You can
to
learn
school
better
and him being a
ways.
leader,
And one of the things I
and
emphasize is
you
every
know how
person,
that
you
was
need
hindering
to have
him in terms of
a learning spirit.
being effective.
If you don't
And I
have a
mentioned
learning
to him
spirit, you will
that
not be able to make progress in life.
usually when people
So,
do not have things
um,
under
the
control,
first one
they
is
always find
have that mindset
where
of
to point
continuous learning.
fingers.
The second thing is cultivate
When you
a
do not have
mindset of
things
growth.
under control,
You
you
need
always
to
find
cultivate that
someone to
mindset of
blame or
growth
something to
in
blame.
whatever situation you're in.
But
Every
if you
challenge
look
or
around,
any
there are people
setback,
in your same position
in
who
it comes an
actually
opportunity to
thriving.
grow.
Yeah.
And when you
so
grow,
we usually try to
making
run away
progress.
from
You'll be
responsibility
able to handle more things.
and really being
And the way our
resourceful,
God works
like
is
Given
that
said,
He'll never
and
give you
really
something that
looking
you're not able
around
to manage.
ourselves to see the things
So
that we can actually
you'll be looking at your growth.
maximize.
Can you
So I
manage
think
this stress? Can you
responding
manage this
to
problem? If you
to
can
your
manage, it'll give you
question,
more
we need to look
opportunities.
around
And the
and
third
see
thing
the
you can do
things
to
that we
develop
can
your
actually
AQ
bring closer and
is
be able to maximize. Is it
cultivate
physical materials? Is
a
it group
flexibility.
studies? Is
You need to
it
be flexible in life.
sometimes just
Shouldn't
going
be
to another
rigid.
place where there's power, you
What?
know,
That
and
means
charging your gadgets.
rigid.
For us
You
who
know,
are so
you don't
fortunate
want
to
to
be
change. I
living
remember
around the
when
hospital, you
I
know,
went for my exchange semester in the
we
Netherlands.
always find
I was
ourselves
invited to
at the
speak at a
hospital
certain
trying
school.
to
Now, the culture there is different.
charge our
And my
gadgets and
books,
study
their
and
core
the like.
principles
So
come from the Bible.
there's always something
There,
that
it's
you
different.
can do. There's always something
Many of
that you
them are
can
not
maximize.
religious. And like
Closer
Zambia
to
is a
you.
Christian nation.
I
But
love
when
what
you're
you said about
when you're in Zambia, Zambia is a Christian
when
nation.
you don't have
Not being a
things
Christian
in
is a weird
control,
thing.
you find
But there is the
somebody to
opposite. If you're a
blame.
Christian,
And I feel
it's
like
weird.
that's
You
a
find
very
atheists,
big
the
thing because
LGBTQ, it's
even
normal there.
I feel
So
like
when I
finding
went into
balance
that setup, I had to
is a point
adapt
to start from.
to change
So
the
you
structure of
know
how I
that,
present
for
things.
example, yes, I'm a
I
medical
was
student,
talking
so
about
I'll speak.
principles in
You
the
know
Bible, but
that you
not quoting the
have
Bible in an
class
indirect
from
way.
maybe morning
I
and you
was
have
able
word
to
rounds,
adapt. So
and then
that's
you're
why
done by
adaptation
like
is very,
say
very
13
important.
or
So
14,
develop
and
a
then
culture of
you know that
flexibility. That means
every
try out
other
new
thing at this
methods.
point
You know,
doesn't
if
really
you always
matter
use this
because you
certain
won't
way
have
to
power
go to
in the
class,
night.
try to use another
So
way.
why not just
Because if you're
shift
stuck
what
in
you're
that same
supposed to
way,
do in the
you're
night
becoming
to like you're
rigid
studying
again.
to
You'll be failing to
after
adapt
you
easily.
have your.
So
Of
use
course, it's
different paths. Use a
uncomfortable because you'll be
different. Go to a
tired
different
and you just want to
restaurant.
rest and you
Interact
just
with
want to
new
go
people.
and do
Don't be
whatever.
awkward. You need
Yeah,
to
I
be
feel like it's just
able to
finding
enter
a
new
proper
social environments and be able
adjust your
to
schedule.
adapt. That's
So
saying when you're in Rome, do
adjust
what
your
the Romans
schedule
do. That's a
and
very powerful saying.
yeah,
It's about
if we
adaptation.
look at
And
if we look at
if you look at our Bible
certain
again,
things or certain
one of
people
the person
who've
I can quote
made it
who was so
big,
adaptable was
it's
Joseph.
because they did
He came
things
from
in
a
the
very good
absence of
family.
those things.
He was a favorite.
The people who
Went
invented
in
light
prison.
bulbs, there were no light bulbs.
First, no,
They
he went to
did the
Potiphar's house.
invention in
He
the absence of
adapted. He
that,
was
and
the
that's why we
most
know them
hardworking
now.
person.
The
And they loved him.
Thompson guys,
Went to
Thomas
prison, he
guys, those
adapted.
guys.
Then was the most hardworking
Yeah,
person in
those
prison,
guys.
and they loved
Yeah.
him.
And
And
so
he
it's
was easily elevated because he was able to
yeah.
adapt to this
In
changing
the
environment.
absence of the power,
Until he
what
was
are
now
you doing?
next.
I think it would be
he
great
was the
if
highest or the second
you
highest
you
in
came out the
Egypt. He
best
was, yeah.
students.
And he
on
adapted to that
load
as well
shedding.
because it
People
came
will
with
know you
pressure
like, okay,
and
we didn't have
stress.
power, but okay,
But he was
this guy.
able to manage that because
How?
of
You know?
the series
Yeah.
of adaptation that he was
Yeah.
going through. The
Just
Bible in
to add on, I
Ecclesiastes 3
think
verse 1 says,
that is very solid. What she just
someone
highlighted.
help me? That everything
I
has its own
think
season, every activity has its
the
own.
testimony
You know, it's talking about
becomes, it
adaptation
carries
also.
so much weight.
There's a season
If
for load shedding, adapt to
the
it.
challenges, the
Season of
factors that
happiness,
were around
adapt
that
to it. Season of sadness,
particular
adapt to
person
it.
were
Season of
really
you lose a parent,
can
you
be
need to adapt.
conceived as
You know,
impossible.
you shouldn't.
Mhm.
Yes,
You
you
understand?
mourn
But
over your parents.
nonetheless, the
It's a
person
sad
still
thing,
manages to
but you need to
persevere.
adapt to the
Yeah.
new now situation that you
So,
are in. You can't
like
continue
I said
living how
earlier,
you used to live when
we
you had
need
both
not to
parents.
pray for
Mhm.
That's
easier
how you'll be able
challenges,
to
but to pray
survive.
for
People who break
a
down completely
stronger
are those who fail to adapt.
person
Mhm.
You
than
know.
you. You
So to
understand?
the listener,
So I
these
think
are some of
just
the ways in
reiterating
which you
a
can
bit on
develop
what he
your
said,
AQ, and
it's
going
very
to help
important.
you
It's
in life because
necessary that we make
load
these
shedding is
adjustments. You
not the
see,
only
we're talking
change that
about
you're going to see. More changes
uncomfortability.
are going to
We're talking about
Mhm.
literally moving outside your comfort zone.
Wow.
So then it comes back to you as a
Picked
person
three
to
things:
introspect,
learn,
to say,
grow,
what are my
and be
priorities?
flexible.
Okay, if these are my priorities, are they worth making
Let me say
the
this
adjustments
before I
for?
say what I wanted to say.
If they are, then you need to
Uh,
make those adjustments. I think you mentioned
What
something
you are
like
going through and the
reading
adversity that
hard
you
copy
are going
books.
through
Yeah.
is
I
what
think myself,
makes
I'm
you.
more effective with
That's
print
what makes you.
copies than
Sometimes we think people
soft
are made
copy. I
from
think
roses.
it also tells
but
us something
actually
to
it's
say.
a combination of
Reading
everything,
on
the
screens, in
challenges,
as
the
much as it's very
difficulties
convenient
put
and
together
smart
is
way,
what makes you
but it has also got
into
its
the
negative
person that
effects.
you are.
Things that we don't usually
Increases the
talk about. Things like
capacity in you.
right now we're both
And
wearing
then
specs.
let me
Yeah,
be
and then.
blunt now.
I never
know
used to wear
Right.
it's a
specs
soft.
back in the day. I actually have got very good vision. I never thought I would grasp it.
The
This is
world
an
is
effect
not
that has come
waiting
secondary to
for
using screens.
anyone.
We're not saying this is bad,
The world is
but
not
the point is
waiting,
that
waiting
these
for
adjustments
us,
have
waiting for you.
to be made because
Uh,
then
and
they are
so if you
satisfying
decide
that
not to
particular
do that,
priority that you've set apart.
you will find
So,
yourself
to the listener,
kilometers
sit down and
of light
highlight
years
what are my
behind.
priorities in this load shedding period.
So
And
the
what
world is not
adjustments
waiting
can I make
for you. I
that
like to think
facilitate
in
the
these
success
lines.
of these priorities?
You know, if you
Because
look
then
at
at that
the
particular
technological
time, you know that, okay,
advancement
for whatever
of
adjustment
people in
I'll
the
make,
West,
it's
if you
worth
look
it
at,
because I wish to achieve this.
Mm.
how advanced they are and
I
how
like how
advanced
the
they are
adjust is
going
coming
towards
out
the
so
future.
strongly. Like
We are
it's
miles
just
and kilometers
I
away.
feel like it's the
And so
it's where we are.
us
It's that thing you should be
complaining
in. Like
is just adding
adjust.
on to that.
Because if you
Yeah, so
realize
we need
that
to
you should
realize that
adjust,
the world is
or
not
you
waiting
must,
for us.
I think it's
We
a
need
must.
to
You
keep
must
moving.
adjust. I think
And
every other
nobody's
thing
ever going to
begins
say
to
no,
fall into
Zambia
place
is
because you
where
know
it is after
you can't
70 years,
you
after
complain.
80
Yes,
years, because there are periods
one
of
of the
load shedding.
doctors says
It is
you
where
have
it
no
is
excuse
after that
for
period of
not
time
studying,
because
whether
it's
load
young
shedding,
people at
whether
that time
whatever, whether you're
failed
tired,
to
whether
do
you are on call,
what was
whether
necessary, what was required.
you have
of
no
them.
excuse. And for real, you have no
We
excuse.
have the
It's not
solution,
like
we
every
have what
other
it
thing that's
takes,
happening in the world
and
is
we
going
need to
to go
rise
at
to
a
the
standstill
challenge.
because
I
Zambia
think that
has
is what
load
is
shedding.
important. And
There's
if we are
still
able to complain about something like
engineers
load
will still be
shedding that is
needed.
happening,
Business
what happens
administrators will
when
still be
we
needed. So they
are in a
won't chill
position
like,
of
oh no,
authority
Zambia doesn't
and
have power,
something
so they're
devastating
studying
happens
less,
to the
so
whole
let's
country?
extend their
Are we going
degree
to go on
courses so
national
they can
television and
study during the
complain,
day and
or are
so
we going to
what?
go on national television
Nothing
and
like that. I feel
address
like
the
life is
situation
fast and it
and give
doesn't wait
solution?
for anybody
We
who
try to
is
say
lazy or
no,
who
I'm
wants to
young,
be
so
comfortable.
I
Life will
need to
continue.
distance myself from
It will continue running, and as long as you want to be
these
comfortable with
issues. The time
everything,
will come,
I
but
believe
the
there's
time
no
is now.
perfect
Mhm.
time to
The time
live.
is now. The time for
Like
us to now
all
start thinking
conditions
about
set,
the
nothing
next
will be
generation,
perfect for you
the
just
people
to
that are behind us.
live.
There are people who are
There'll be
looking up to
something.
us.
There'll be
Time
something.
for
There'll
us to
always
start
be
thinking of
something.
how we are going to
And yeah,
hand
that
to
brings
them
me
a
to my
better
next
country, a better
question.
continent. I think it is now, and it comes
Or rather my
on tests
yeah,
like
okay.
load shedding.
What
How we adapt, how we change,
how do you
and how
see
we
yourself
address it.
do
I
you
think
see
is
yourself
what is going
managing
to
if load
make the
shedding
difference.